All right, so we're in the middle of Football World Cup, and every morning I read a couple of newspapers. I read the Wall Street Journal, the FT, and Bloomberg. And one of the interesting things that came across this morning's Wall Street Journal, they're having a little bit of fun. And I actually think I don't always look for business application from fun things, but sometimes it just kind of jumps out at you. Well, here's what they have today. They've pulled together this really cool matrix on who's having fun and who's miserable at the World Cup. Now, I actually think that notwithstanding what's on here, there's some terrific applicability when it comes to businesses and business teams. So what they've done is they've created a fairly simple matrix, right? And the matrix is on performance, so overperforming at the top and underperforming at the bottom. And then they've got this the scale or continuum of happiness, where you're either ecstatic or you're miserable. Now, this is done from the perspective of teams, of course. And so no surprise, on the really happy side, you've got, a couple of really cool teams that seem to be having a good time right now. On the miserable side, you've got a couple of teams that are not having such a good time. They want to be taken home. What I think is interesting about this whole 2x2 is we can apply it to work. We can think about those people that are performing really well, the overperformers. Then there's the people that are kind of at the bar. They're doing what they should be doing. They're doing their job, right? So that's good. And then there's people that are underperforming. Now, you then layer that on top of how happy they are, and it gives you a very interesting lens at your team. Some of them are really happy, some of them are really miserable. So what are you going to do? I would suggest that if you have underperformers, you've got to fix that first. You've got to try and figure out how they can move up on the line. Some of them maybe can't. So you've got to figure out how you help them exit or move on. But you've got to fix the performance level, because poor performance sends a message to the rest of your team that you're tolerating poor performance. Now, on the happiness, let's call it happiness scale, right? On the ecstatic to miserable, you've got to get rid of the miserable people too. Partly because they're just going to bring the tone down. They're going to bring the energy down. And if you tolerate misery walking around your halls, well, who wants to be around that? So you've got to eliminate as fast as you can that bottom left quadrant, because that's no good, right? You don't want underperforming, miserable people. You don't really want I would suggest you don't want miserable people that are performing well either, unless you can change the conditions. They might be miserable because of the conditions they're in, not because inherently what they do. Maybe the conditions are wrong, so you need to address that. Fix that. You ultimately want to get everybody above that performance line and as happy as they can be. So just an interesting little take from the Wall Street Journal today. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever game you're watching, even if maybe you aren't watching a game. But if you are, I hope you have a great Friday and a terrific weekend ahead.